Let's look at some simple math operations. Arduino supports simple math operations, the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and it works on both int and float slash double. And what that means is that if you take, you can do a plus b, and if both a and b are integers, it will use the integer addition circuitry within the microprocessor. If they are both floats, it will use the floating point circuit inside of the microprocessor. What's really neat is that from a programmer's perspective, you don't even need to know what's going on in the processor. You just allow the compiler to figure it out for you. So that's great. The other thing is that more complex, mathematical operations like square root and sine and cosine, stuff like that, they are also available, but they are provided through functions. Okay, so let's take a look at how this might work. So I can take my original, code here, and we won't just create a new project. We'll just keep going. So let's go ahead and say a. Let's see. So when you create a variable, you can either say int a, and it'll be blank, and then you have to initialize it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 3 integers, a, b, and c, and that's fine. And then let's just show you that I can go a is equal to 1, b is equal to 2, and then what I'm going to do is I'll add those together and then see if it works. Okay, so down here what I'm going to do is say, let's first print out what a is. So print a is a. Okay, so it's going to print that a is equal to 1 and didn't do a carriage return. And then I'm going to do b is b, and so I'm going to print that b is that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to say c is equal to a plus b. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to type out a plus b is, and then I'll print what c was. Okay, so then this mathematical result should work. So let's go ahead and do this little simple operation. And we'll pull up the serial monitor, and we'll see what happens. A is 1, b is 2, a plus b is 3. And 3 in this situation was the the variable c. Okay, so you got this math operation, everything's great. When you do division, it's going to expect you to use floats. It'll actually convert integers to floats if you try to do two, an addition with the 2 different ones there. But it's cool to keep in mind all the math operations that you have in there. So go ahead and play around with some of these operations, plus and minus and all that sort of stuff. And when you do, think about actually negative numbers too, because if I did a minus b, I should actually get a negative number. And you say, well, I don't know, is that going to work? So let's go ahead and fire that up and see if it will work. And so when you do math with a computer, you're always thinking about, okay, the destination variable, is it going to be able to hold that value? So is it possible for the variable c, being of type int or integer, to hold the value -1? And it is indeed possible. Okay, an integer can go from up to a positive number down to a negative number depending on how many bits that the computer is. Okay, so in this case, just keep in mind that integers can absolutely be negative. Okay, so go ahead and play around with that, and then go ahead and mess around with some of the functions like square root and POW. POW is power, but it's a good exercise to say, okay, well, POW, what do I need to do? What you need to do is then go out to the Arduino reference website and type that in, and it'll pop up and it'll show you exactly what the arguments are. So go ahead and pause the video and play around with that.